The Elizabeth Taylor Diamond, a gift from Richard Burton, just one of the jewels in the film Legends collection that, together, sold at auction for well over $100 million in 2011. And as Rita Braver explains, they're far from her only prized possessions.
She won her first Best Actress Oscar in 1961, playing a loose woman in Butterfield 8.
Can I help you with anything?
The second was in 1967 for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, sparring on screen with her real-life husband, Richard Burton.
You're a monster. You are.
I'm loud, and I'm vulgar, and I wear the pants in the house because somebody's got to. But I am not a monster. I'm not!
Elizabeth Taylor. But those closest to her say that it was the third Academy Award that meant the most. 25 Oscar Sundays ago, Elizabeth Taylor earned the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award for her pioneering work in the fight against AIDS.
I accept this award in honor of all the men, women, and children with AIDS who are waging incredibly valiant battles for their lives.
Taylor's activism was especially significant because it started at a time when Hollywood barely whispered about AIDS. Were you surprised, or did it just seem something that seemed natural to you?
She loved a crisis. She really did.
Naomi DeLuce Wilding, Taylor's granddaughter from her second marriage to British actor Michael Wilding, volunteers for the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, which the Taylor estate still funds.
And it was very important for her to speak up for people who weren't being heard.
She rose to national prominence as a child. By age 11, Taylor was already a star.
Every day I pray to God to give me horses. Wonderful horses.
She would go on to make more than 50 films, marry 8 times, and lead one of the most glamorous and colorful lives of any woman in American history. What was she like as a person?
She was wonderful. I mean, she was big, she was dramatic, she was tough.
Tim Mendelsohn worked for Taylor for 20 years until her death in 2011.
The thing that I always like to say is that I had a front row seat to the best reality show that no one will ever see.
Much of that time, he was her top assistant, and he's now a trustee of her AIDS Foundation, headquartered in Beverly Hills.
There's a lot of work to do.
He also helps run the Elizabeth Taylor Archive, housed here as well.
And she wore this on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Some items here have never before been seen publicly.
These are childhood essays that she wrote that her mother kept. And actually, you see her signature. What I like, and what beautiful handwriting.
What I like most about being in pictures. Oh my goodness, so she was a young actress at the time.
Oh yeah, no, I think she was 15 when she wrote this.
There's a box of photos from her years as an MGM ingenue.
So this is Father of the Bride.
And this is with Spencer Tracy.
Spencer Tracy.
Her father. She was the bride.
Pop! Pop!
But they were very close, and she called his character Pops in the film, and she called him Pops in real life too. So they were.
These are great.
They were good friends.
All my love, your baby girl Elizabeth. There are letters she wrote to her parents from her 1950 honeymoon with first husband, hotel heir Nicky Hilton. And there are love letters from Richard Burton, whom she married and divorced twice. He says, "You make riot in the imagination. There is nothing like you." Wow. This is her wedding dress from her first marriage to Burton, and the one from her 8th wedding to a man she met while in rehab.
This is a Valentino, a yellow Valentino gown, and actually we even have the sketch that Valentino did of her in the dress. And this was when she married Larry Fortensky. They got married at Michael Jackson's ranch. Neverland.
Taylor's wedding album shows Naomi Wilding serving as one of her grandmother's bridesmaids. But Wilding says, despite Elizabeth Taylor's glamorous public image, in private, she was devoted to her family.
She was an average grandmother in that she was unconditionally loving and supportive, and she offered us a home where we knew we were always welcome. She was very tactile and very cuddly. So in some ways, especially for me as a kid, I didn't really know the difference between her and any other grandmother.
Still, she was a grandmother who helped change the world.
I will remain here as rowdy an activist as I have to be, and God willing, for as long as I have to be.
She was timeless, and I think that it's important to keep that memory alive. You know, remember what she did.
Thank you, and God bless.